Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Guess what? It's 10 to midnight on a Thursday.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Here we are. I'm Jackie Cation.
I'm Laurie Kilmartin. Who knows who Jackie Cation is? There's someone
impersonating me as
on
we speak
Facebook
right now.
Oh my God!
It's I think I finally got too political for somebody. I think me calling them Sergeant Schultz told them to go out to the Russian front.
Yeah,
learn your Russian, Trump fans. Learn your Russian.
I wish I had a Hogan's Heroes reference at my fingertips. I would if it was 4 hours earlier, but it's almost midnight.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty grim.
I've never had a tired mouth before.
Guy came up to me after the show, and said, "You've been doing stand-up for a couple not long, right?"
Yeah,
to me.
What?
And, yeah, to me. And
this is the same week Booker called you competent.
It's exactly, and it was in Oklahoma. I think it was in Denver, and it was what the guy meant was, you're a well-kept secret in show business, and you were very funny, so you must be new. What I heard was he heard something that made him think that I wasn't good at this.
Right.
And I said, no, I've done a man.
Have you had conversations with people who tell you they've been doing comedy 20 years, like it's the longest amount of time anyone's been doing comedy? And I just want to walk away.
Right. The only time, I count the 80s as 1 year, right?
That's right.
But I have to say that whenever I'm talking to like an old dinosaur comic, who likes to tell me that they started, that they've been doing it for 20 years, and they say, "How long have you been doing it?" I always say 1984, just to shut them up.
Oh, I know people. They pretend they started in '99. Dude, I featured for you in '88. So
yeah. Well, or just a guy who's like, well, it's back when things were different. You don't know because you haven't been doing stand-up that long. Those are old dinosaur comics sitting around green rooms in various places, and they'll be like, "Well, you don't know what it was like to do stand-up in the 80s," and you're like, "Yeah, I do." I was there, sadly, and I'd love to be further along. Obviously,
I know. Sometimes it's
it's condescending.
When we started, we thought we'd be further along than we are, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't think of being alive at this age. Yeah.
Yeah, I never had a goal. I think a great problem of mine that I still don't have a goal.
Me too. Yeah. I was like, a couple of podcasts ago, I'm like, all I want to do is go to Edinburgh. That's it. That's all I want for my whole career. What? I got to have something else.
That's when the big challenge is going to happen. That's when it's really going to make a big difference. Good Lord. It's just.
But all the things you're supposed to want sometimes are very unappealing. You know, you're supposed to want this kind of a show. You're supposed to want this and this and this. And then, when it's, I don't know, it's never struck me that way,
Yeah, I don't know that.
I just want to have a good set tonight. That's pretty much what I want to have every single day.
Yes. And I think that is a laudable goal. I don't think that there's anything beyond that. I want to do everything. I think I tweeted about it this week where I was like, when you ask a comic, what do you want to do in show business? The answer is the same. I want to do whatever you got, but I definitely need to do stand-up.
Right.
Like I'll act, I'll write, I'll direct, I'll go swimming, whatever the fuck you want to do. But do I get to still do stand-up? Yeah. Then that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You just said something that I should have written down as a title, but maybe Kyle wrote it.
Kyle's on it, man.
Kyle's
on the JOB.
He's writing
things that should be titles, and we're 4 minutes in.
We're 4 minutes in.
Just another
50
more minutes. Oh my God!
If you think this is going out with any other title besides "I count the 80s as 1 year,"
it's every week we talk about nothing. So I thought this week maybe we could talk about Alicia Keys not wearing makeup. That's nothing.
All right.
What do you think of that?
I haven't really paid attention to it.
Well, she just showed up without makeup, and the world went mad.
Does she have good eyebrows? If you do, you can do that. Okay, I
It's all
can't
about
leave
the
the house
eyebrow?
without. Yes, it fucking frames the face. You've got full eyebrows.
I don't
You
know.
and your Armenian stock.
Ooh, hey, I got a different story. I'm done with Alicia Keys. That was so fast. 56 minutes. I'm doing. I spit into a tube to find out my DNA.
What do you mean? Oh,
I'm gonna find out my DNA. I'm
with,
gonna find
with,
out
what company?
23andMe.
Interesting. I'm gonna
Yep.
do that maybe.
It was,
Are you doing it with Ancestry so you can hook up with find potential relatives and stuff?
I don't think so. I think that Ancestry.com has their own spit into a tube and
Yeah.
send them money. This one is just called 23andMe.
Right. I've heard of it.
And so and it was funny. I was talking to my brother and I said, so I'm going to find out half Armenian, a quarter Irish, a quarter Norwegian. And he goes, well, the Norwegian thing isn't right. You know that's not right. And I was like, no, I don't know why. What's wrong with that? And I guess my grandma Gladys Ryan.
Gladys, I love
Gladys
it.
Ryan and Ryan's mother, my mother's mother, was adopted. And she was raised by the Ericksons. And then she married my grandfather, David Ryan, or whatever the fuck his name was.
I
And
wonder if she was from Luxembourg.
if she was from Luxembourg, we
You
could
have an
retire
inn.
to. I have an inn in Luxembourg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll find out, won't I? I don't know if will my DNA be enough to get me a passport to Luxembourg.
No, you'd have to
I'd have
out
to genealogy it.
find out who she was adopted from.
She was
what
adopted
happened.
after World War I from some Eastern European.
Oh no.
No, it's all right. So God knows what I am. I'm hoping to find out that I'm Chinese. I think that that's going to be the huge reveal.
My son actually might be part Chinese.
Yeah.
His on his dad's side, there's like a Chinese great grandfather.
Oh wow!
And it's weird because whenever I looked at my ex, I thought he looked Indian. You know,
Yeah.
like Mexican. The Mexican ethnicity is Spanish and Indian,
Right,
you
Native
know?
American. Yeah.
So I just thought, wow, he really carried a lot of Indian throughout. Even
Right.
This is a very dodgy car. I just realized this is,
You were down
it's turning into eugenics. but if he has
It's a cool looking kid.
and if he has an Asian
Yeah.
ancestor,
Yep.
then that would explain that appearance. You know, he has a heavy lid that I assumed was some sort of
Native
like
American,
Mayan or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not an expert on native people in Mexico.
I like that you feel like you're being attacked. Nobody cares. They're fine.
So my son might have a little Chinese blood in him, which is kind of
Right.
cool. I think the best. It's best to have a little bit of a lot of things.
Yeah.
You don't want to be all Irish.
No.
You know,
you
you don't
breed
wanna be
dogs
all
too
anything.
quick. They're very nervous. Yeah. Everybody's a little too. You
Yeah.
don't want that. That's grim.
Well,
I have this written down.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me about bad club owners, and we're, kind of reminiscing about old-timey club owners and how newer club owners are usually better.
yeah, I agree.
And there's still some old club owners, but there's couples and guys that own these clubs, and they've owned them for 40 years
and
or 35 years.
They're really good at treating comics like shit.
And they hate comedy.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I wonder, why didn't you just buy a fucking liquor store?
Yeah.
Just run a liquor store or a strip club, and then you wouldn't have had to deal with comics for the last 40 years. Why do you have a comedy club? And there's no answer to that, I suppose. It's just...
I think they got in it because it was easy money. It was really easy money in the 80s.
maybe that's it. They thought the
and then
boom
they
was going to last forever.
They just stayed
and-
in. Like us, we stayed in.
We stayed
It wasn't
in.
easy money in the 80s, but we stayed in.
Right. But it was like heroin when I first started. I mean, I'm like, this is what I do now.
Even now,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I picked up a set tonight over at the Virgil I was telling you that I didn't
Yeah.
think that I was going to get to do, and I was psyched. And then last night, I was psyched I made it to Flappers.
Yeah.
So-
I didn't stay for your whole sex.
Right. Yeah,
whatever,
you had
child.
been there forever.
Yeah, right. But the stuff I saw really made me laugh.
Oh, good.
And I know I complimented you on an old joke, which I apologize. But
Well, you had never heard that.
It's such a good joke.
It's a classic.
Oh.
It's I
great joke.
was meandering around a little bit because I was working on this new chunk about
Yeah.
shoplifting, and it just popped out. So it was an interesting. I've been working so hard on this set list of jokes that have never been recorded for the new album,
Right.
that it's irritating because I can't wait until the album is recorded and then I can do everything that I want to do.
Yeah.
Any joke, because a lot of my jokes are stories that started, and so if I tell the first joke in the arc,
Yeah.
then I could tell the new joke. Let me tell you about the spooky reading girl, so then I can tell you my new reading joke.
Yeah.
And then I have possibly a third reading joke, and it'll be fun.
You know how I've only recorded one CD in 2009, I think, and it was sprung on me. Like, here's what, like maybe in 2005, I was gonna record a DVD. And so I was at a theater in Seattle.
Yeah.
John Fox had put together like a theater gig on Valentine's Day.
Nice.
I didn't really realize at the time a theater gig is not a good place to record a CD because it's the laughter.
It's too big and-
yeah, it's
yeah.
too big and it's not intimate or anything. And so you're not going to have the kind of set you want to have in front of a crowd that's too big and too far away. And if they're coming, their theater tickets, season ticket holders, they're just not comedy fans. Some of them were just there because that's part of their season.
Do you think it's the acoustics or the crowd or a little bit of both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the comic who introduced me, and I got this guy. He's got cameras everywhere, and I had, from what I understand, lost an HBO special to Bonnie McFarlane.
Okay.
Recently, and that's what my manager told me.
Okay.
And so I was very depressed, and I was like, nothing's gonna. Well, you know me.
You can't. Yeah, I do know you. I do now. You're like, it's over. It's over.
I was, and I'm like, this is, it's like, this is, I'll just get this stuff on tape, but I'm nobody, I'm nothing, and the industry hates me. I was like in that place, but I was trying to cheer myself up. And,
Yep.
And the MC brought me up as Laura Keitlinger, and
Oh,
then
my
that
God.
kicked in every
Bad.
molecule of self-hate in my body.
Yes.
And it, like, all the money I paid for the shoot, I never even watched the set. I'm like,
Wow.
I can't. I'm so upset that even the MC
Doesn't
didn't know my name.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Have you ever, now to digress a little bit, have you ever heard a comedy album in a major theater like Madison Square Garden or something that has gone well? Like somebody's hugely famous. It's Dice, it's Dane Cook, it's
guess so,
Chris
yeah.
Rock. Because those guys, I think, did them in large venues.
But they also have large acts. Dane Cook and Dice Clay are just they have big voices, they're athletic. Their jokes aren't subtle, and there's no like little curly cues at the end of them. It's all just hitting you over the head with stuff. So
Right.
that's fine for them to work in a place like that. But
Well, I would think just because they were full of their audience, right? They're
Sure.
full of their
Yeah.
fans, it might go better.
right,
But I would still love to hear if I were forced to listen to a comedy album, and that's what it would take. I would have to be forced. I would like to hear Chris Rock in a 220, in a small room with a low ceiling.
yeah,
Just having the time of his life.
Sure.
And
Sure.
just an hour. Just do your 45 to an hour and record that, and I would love to hear that. And even comics that are
Well, that would change his energy completely, though. That guy paces the stage. I think
it's
there's
over.
other-
He can't do a
Chappelle,
small.
I would like to hear in a
'Cause he-
small room
'cause he can use
has
a
a very
small-
different energy, and he's not. I think Chris Rock is a big theater guy.
Yeah.
like he will look up to the rafters. He walks from side to side. He uses the whole stage.
Right.
Unless his energy has changed, I don't know why it would.
Right. But just think of it being like composed though. Like if he was trapped in that room doing a 220,
Sure.
it would.
And by
I
that you
think-
mean 220 seats. Right?
220
Okay.
seats, yeah. Like doing a smaller room like that. Just think of all that energy just coming out of him like the blast of the sun.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that would be an incredible set.
Yep.
Just, I saw him once at the Improv.
Yeah.
And I don't know Chris Rock. I've never.
I don't
met
know
him.
either.
Yeah.
Isn't it, just to digress for a second, there's a lot of comics that have been doing it 15 years that are like, Chris, like they know him that well. You're like, I've been doing it as long as him. I don't fucking know him.
I don't know him. I've never even
How
met
dare
him.
you know him? Oh, that drives me nuts.
I met Tony a couple of times. Tony seemed
Love Tony
perfectly
Rock. Very
nice,
nice guy.
Yes,
Yes. Very funny. Very
and
funny.
also very funny. Yes, which is, of course, the cross that
Helpful.
he must bear. So, it's whatever. I am sick of
What are you sick of?
myself and other
That's
people.
just a good sentence to start. When
It
we
is
have
a
a
really-
lull, is
yeah.
what are you sick of?
I'm sick of. What are you sick of? I'm sick of a lot of women. There's two different, and it's not women comics' fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's society's fault that there's only two topics that we were supposed to do. We were either supposed to get married or we were supposed to have babies.
Right.
So,
Two paths.
two paths,
Right.
Right, and and if you did it right, you got married and then had babies, right?
Right.
And then what? Did stand up? When do you get to do stand up in that equation? Because, but there's a lot of like, I didn't get to have babies, or I didn't get to be married.
Oh, you mean female comics talking about
women
that?
comics talking about that. So it's kind of fascinating, but it's kind of
Yeah.
it's been popping up a lot lately. It's weird.
Well, I think yeah, I mean, my kid was an accident. So
Yeah.
otherwise I would be having those same conversations.
yeah.
You just don't know. I really don't think you know how much comedy is going to shape what your life's going to be when you start.
Yeah.
And when you're a woman, it shapes it in a very different way than it shapes the men. Mm-hmm. You almost can't believe it.
It does. Well, yeah.
I mean, you are such an anomaly that you have a good marriage with a good person.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There's not many at all.
Well, I think, I don't know, maybe, or it's their second marriage, or their, it's that whole thing of, I can't even remember if I've told this story before, but it's my brother, when he got divorced, he said, they had been married 17 years, and he said, I count that as a very successful 14-year marriage. And I said, well, what do you think your wife would say? He said, probably a very successful 11-year marriage. But but then he gets in another relationship, and there feels like in some people's lives there's a finite amount of time that you can spend with a person, and then you're like, oh, I'm done. But there are
Yeah.
some people who are married for 70 years, and I'm wrong. So I don't know.
Very few. But I mean, we have this is going to sound really pretentious, but we have a vocation that is actually
Right.
fascinating, and it's time consuming, and
The whole inside of me is comedy shaped.
yeah, you never get as good as you want to be,
Right.
and
Right.
and that goes until you finish, and it's really. I don't know if there's men. Men don't appreciate that quality in a woman, or
Or they
if
don't
you-
notice it. I don't think that they even.
But I also think, like, for me, I'm like, well, I feel like I have to pick, either or. Like, I can't. Every time
It was
I've
picked for
I've
you to
had
have the kid.
right? Yes, but the comedy or a guy, I feel like, well, of course I'm going to choose comedy. Why would I?
Yeah.
Why would I choose hanging out with
know
somebody
what's weird
maybe
is that-
won't like in a year?
Right. What I definitely did choose. I didn't think it was an either or. I was like, I would like a whole life. But your life is already so full with your son that for you to also have a relationship might be too much, or it might make it easier, if you
I can't
met the
see it
right
making
guy.
it easier.
If you met the right guy, I think it might be easier.
What guy would want to date somebody who would rather be on stage?
Well, that is the crux of it. You have to want more. You have to want to also be with a guy. Mm-hmm. Because I want to be on stage.
Right.
I'm gone a lot, and but I also want to be with Andy. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. You found somebody. I mean, I don't think I
you
found
could.
somebody where, where I wouldn't take a late spot.
Well, the great thing about Andy.
What time's our date? Can we?
Well,
like if I could sneak one in before or after. Yeah.
Right. It was with Andy. I was just like, all right, so I could stay home or I could go do a set, and he's like, go do a set, do whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go do a set then.
Yeah.
And, yep.
Yeah, it was cute when last week you were hanging out at Flappers, and you're like, Andy texted me, he wants me to come home. I'm like, yeah, he's fucking married to you, and you're going on the road for a week. He wants to bone his wife. Get out of here. You're like, she didn't even know it.
And I was like, oh, thank God.
Why is he texting me? Why is my husband texting me?
Made Kyle laugh. Are we seriously at 20 minutes?
We are.
Oh my God. All right, so I forgot a woman comic's name that I have had breakfast with twice at my comedy brunch, and I got so upset with myself that I had forgotten her name. I thought she was someone else.
Yeah.
And finally, she shut me down in the greatest way possible. She said, Jackie, it really doesn't matter. I don't care. And I was like, oh, that's right. I think people are thinking about me a lot more than they are. I always think that it's a bigger fucking deal, and it isn't. So,
I did sleepaway camp. Well, now it'll be
did you?
About a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. I was up at like around 11:15. It was at the Downtown Independent.
Yep.
And it was the last one. They're not going to do
they're
the show
done.
for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess they've done it like for 3 years straight.
yeah, that's plenty.
That's just a side note. That's an enormous responsibility to continue to produce a show.
Yeah.
Every week or every month,
Whatever.
even downstairs with Tingle Twins.
It's all the choreography that it
and
takes
getting
to
all the
get-
comics here, and then you've got me going, oh, I took a gig in Malibu by accident, so I'll be late, and
I'll be late, but I also need to get up right when I get there because I have a thing after.
I have to record 2 podcasts upstairs.
Yes.
So could you just accommodate me completely? Thanks.
Thank you.
So yeah, it was I got in there, and I had another set before it. So I got to sleep away at the Improv with where I saw those the Hilaria guys. And Sam, I don't know her last name.
Oh, yeah,
Sam
Jay.
was up.
Sam
Sam J. Yeah.
That's it.
She was killing.
Oh, yeah.
And
why wouldn't she be?
She's talking about Molly, the drug. And I was looking at the audience,
Not just Molly Ringwald.
and I'm like, oh, they've all done Molly. And then I felt like a generational divide. I'm like,
I felt that. I took it. Yeah.
That is but you know what? When I was, not everyone's done Molly.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. And
Right.
they're still going to laugh because it's a funny story.
Yeah.
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 But then, you can easily psych yourself out. Because here's the thing. At 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, no one there is over 30.
Yeah.
But they're out there. There's no parents there. There's nobody.
It's an all ages show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it's everyone there is under 30 years
Yeah.
old, and
Most of them are under 25.
Yes. And so a lot of the comedy that's really working is bonding on a common experience that I don't have.
Yep.
And
Yeah. then you get in your
the set
head.
went fine, but yeah, it's every once in a while that happens where I'm like, where it's more, you see references working that are just because they're references.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, this could be. I could be in danger.
That's recognition. That's
Yeah.
I genuinely, whenever I find myself saying something that gets a smile or it gets a laugh just
Yeah.
because everyone's had lunch.
Yeah.
You talk about a common experience.
Yeah.
It's not the right, for me, it's not the right use of a reference,
I think it's a free laugh.
It
It's
feels like
a free laugh, and he's being a joke.
Yeah. I need a punchline that makes sense. Like I
Yeah.
do that joke where I talk about the actual line from Jurassic Park. That's
Yeah.
a referential joke.
Yeah.
But but it in the context that I use that thing, it works.
Yeah.
And it's an actual joke, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not just me going, hey, baby boom.
But do you remember, like in the 90s, there was a kind of comedy of remember blank, and then it was just references to being a child.
Yes.
And I was like, this
Twister.
doesn't seem fair.
Remember
this
Twister?
person's killing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It isn't fair.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the first time I ever saw Gallagher on the Tonight Show, and he had a giant couch behind him.
Yeah.
And I was like, not fair.
Yeah.
Giant couch is fucking funny, and you can afford a giant couch. So,
Yeah, that's a separate version of not funny.
yeah.
Anyway, it was a really fun show, and it was sold out.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
'Cause it was their last
packed.
one.
It was their last one.
Oh, super packed.
And also, I like Austin Southern
Yeah.
was there. Very funny.
yeah, he's a funny guy.
And Megan Keister.
Yeah, that's it.
hilarious. I'd never seen her before.
Yeah,
Super funny.
so funny.
Yeah, really good show.
Do you want to make her the comic of the week?
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, Megan
Let's do it.
Keister.
Megan Keister.
Koester, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think I just started following her on Twitter. I think it's Megan Beth.
Oh,
Keister,
yeah.
and
nice.
it's Megan.
Excellent.
No H.
So funny. So freaking funny.
Yeah, and very, very, very specific references that, like you almost have to be a Jezebel reader to get some of her. I was like, I love it. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good Lord.
But Austin put me in a little movie he did.
Oh yeah.
And so they had a little trailer.
Sketcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
What'd you play?
I played an insane mother.
Oh.
I pretty much
Typecasting. Yeah, so this one will go. I will have been in Toronto. So when
Aren't you exhausted?
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm really tired, and I'm literally like we're recording this at 3 a.m. or whatever it is.
Feels like it.
And so I'll do that. I'll go to with Maria. We're going to Seattle and Spokane, and then I'm coming back on Monday, and I leave on Wednesday for Toronto.
Is that by yourself or with Maria?
I'm doing. It was cool. It was. I'm also doing it too. So I get 2 shows where I'm doing an hour, and then I'm going to open for her 2 hours.
Oh, cool.
And she's going to open for one of my hours.
Oh, neat.
Which will be fun. I told her to follow it with a follow that motherfucker, and then I'm doing a live Dork Forest. That'll be fun. And then I'm doing.
Who's the guest?
I forget. It's I knew you were going to ask me, and I had them in my. They're the
I
tip
saw
of my.
you covering. You're like, that'll be fun. I see your eyes
It's going to be
blinking. What am I saying?
I know what the dorkdom is. We're going to talk about cheese. Is that something?
Oh,
People love cheese.
God, I love cheese.
I grew up.
Are we really talking about cheese right now
Free
on
cheese.
a podcast? Wait a minute. It's like 1 a.m. and we're talking about
I have
cheese.
one more story. That's all I've got.
Okay.
And then that's. I don't even. Do I want to blow it? Do I want to blow it now? What else you got?
Triggering questions.
Yeah, please trigger a question.
Well,
send a cavalcade of hilarity. Wow, it's gonna be like that.
You know what? You could let an open space exist without filling it in. You know.
No, you can't.
Kyle and I are against you. No. This is an audio podcast. People are going to want to hear it. They're just you tapping your pencil.
Oh, every
going,
pothole's
"What
got
is
to be
happening?"
filled in. Come on, man.
Yeah,
No,
we
the
live.
Tires break.
Yeah, you don't want to break an axle. We got
What
momentum.
do you know? How long have you been podcasting? I've been doing it almost a year.
We are in month 9. Here we are, you guys.
When are we going to take a vacation?
Wow. All right. This is you're clearly in the writers' union.
I am.
Isn't there a dark week? What's going to happen?
Well, our show's going to New York. Conan's doing shows
yeah?
at the Apollo at the Monday of October 31st is the first night, and then the next couple nights.
Oh, wow.
So we'll be in New
Halloween
York.
week for...
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you,
excited.
Of course, you'll be psyched.
Yes, I can walk to work.
Walk to work again.
20 blocks.
20
to
wow.
to the Apollo.
And when at the end of October?
End
Will
of
you
November.
November?
Yeah.
31st, not October 31st.
Wait, sorry, the end of October.
Yeah, Halloween, right?
I'm fucking tired.
I know it's a late night. It's a late night. That'll be great though. I'm taking a holiday. I'm taking 2 nights off, and I'm going to Catalina.
I've
never been to Catalina.
Wow.
So I'm going to take a ferry to Catalina.
Oh, cool.
And then Andy has booked us 2 nights at a hotel.
Oh.
And then we're going to take a sailing trip around the island.
I want to do that.
All right.
No, I won't do it with you, but I'll copy
Right.
your
Copy it.
vacation
Do
another
it.
time.
I've never been, but I read a great science fiction series that takes place in Catalina, and it's my...
The lights are turning off at Meltdown. That's
exactly.
how late it is.
That's how late it is.
Everything's shutting down.
We're literally...
I was
at
listening
30.
to this podcast.
Yeah? Were you listening to a
You
podcast?
can't watch the time.
I know I'm wrong to do it.
You know Rick Rubin, he's a music producer. He's kind of a famous music producer.
Yeah, I know the name.
Why? What's happening out there?
I don't know.
Okay. What if we're about to be slaughtered?
That'd be a bummer.
What a podcast, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You'll-
this is it.
If your last move could be to drop that
Yeah,
podcast,
exactly. Yeah, if you could just upload it, and so.
but we
Kyle's
don't
gonna go
exist
check
if
with
you
Francisco.
if you don't listen, Kyle.
So true.
So oh shoot, I dropped an earring. Rick Rubin said, "All great art is divisive."
Okay.
Of course, he's a music guy. Rick Rubin
Yeah.
said, "All great art is divisive." But I always feel every time someone talks about art, comedy doesn't apply. It's not the same thing because great comedy isn't divisive. You know, Brian Regan
Right.
isn't divisive. He's a
Right.
great comic.
Yeah.
There is some great comedies that divisive, but great comedy can be not divisive as well.
Right.
You know, but maybe, great music.
Is always divisive?
I don't know. I mean, this is the guy that produced
he might be
Public
wrong.
Enemy, so.
Okay.
But no, I don't know that I where people love it or hate it
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're. I don't know. I whenever
Great
someone
art
talks
is
about art and
divisive.
artists, and I always try to apply whatever they're saying to comedy, and
Yeah.
it doesn't translate exactly.
Well, it's only recently
doesn't
that
transfer
anyone has
over.
ever been able to say that comedy was art.
Right.
Remember when we started out, it wasn't art. Everybody who said that it was art was given like the hairy eyeball.
Yeah, and then you're an alt comic.
Yeah,
and,
and before that, it was just like, oh, don't take yourself so seriously.
Right,
It's
right, yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm going to take it seriously because it's not a goddamn hobby.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, the way you do it.
Yeah, the way you do it, you're
obviously
right.
Don't take it seriously.
Right. It is
Yeah.
not art. And when you do it, you
Tim Allen.
maroon. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, what's happened there? You know what fascinated me about
I don't know. I'm tired.
you are tired. I thought it was. I saw Tim Allen do stand up probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I
Yeah.
had not seen him except on television and stuff.
Yeah.
and it was all new stuff, and it was about tools.
What? Wait, more
Yeah,
tool material?
more tool material, and it was when I
Well,
genuinely.
what was left unsaid? That's what I want to know.
Well, it turns out if you like tools, there's boxes and boxes of toys that have not been talked about.
Oh, my
But I
God.
remember watching him going, oh, he really likes fucking tools, because it was more jokes about tools, and they were good jokes. Everybody was having the time of their damn life.
So he was actually being true to himself. He was being authentic. All
Yeah,
those years,
very much
I
so.
thought he was being a hack. He was actually being his true self.
Yes, he was. I genuinely think he gives a damn about socket sets. The guy wants to know about.
Huh.
He's got those. You know those wrenches that I don't know. I've never understood. What? Oh my God, I'm punchy. There's
Yeah.
a crescent wrench. That's an adjustable wrench, and then there's those wrench sets that have. You get 9 of them or a
Right.
dozen of them, and they're all different sizes.
Those are ones that I buy and never open.
Well, why do you need those if you have a crescent wrench and it's adjustable?
I don't even know what a crescent wrench is. I was going with you to be generous.
well, I appreciate that.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
that kind of support. Do you think I should tell my story?
Yes.
Let's do it. Here's what I got. So I get off the plane for wherever, Colorado, and I go down to baggage claim and I drop my driver's license. And I lose my driver's license. And by the time I get home, I've lost my driver's license. And I'm like, oh, I got to go to the DMV because I'm leaving again really fast. So I get my items and I get into my car and my car won't start. And I was like, ooh, what's happened? And so, and it all gets fixed within hours because I just left my dome light on. So I got to jump AAA. I'm a grown-up lady. I have AAA. And it's fine. And then I get a Facebook message from a guy who says, hey, I found your driver's license at the baggage claim of LAX. And then I watched a bunch of your videos. You're really funny. And I was like, oh, thanks, man.
And I know where you live.
And he knows where I live. And I said, is this how I get discovered? And because he said that he booked some things up in Santa Barbara. Yes.
Hilarious.
And then we met at a coffee shop in Highland Park, and he gave me back my driver's license. And he said to me, you know, there's a gap in stand-up comedy that I really think your comedy could really fit into. And it's the kind of work that Kyle Cease does, and which is motivational speaking comedy. It's sort of a Tony Robbins.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And he said, you know, there's a lot of men who do that kind of comedy, or a handful anyway. And he said, but there are no women, so there's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of money in it. And it made me think of being offered, I've been off, you know, whenever you get offered, my knee-jerk reaction when offered a great deal of money in stand-up comedy is to go, oh no, I'm an artiste. I don't get to make a lot of money.
Well, it's
bullshit.
Not, you'd have to change your act a lot and
Well,
your
that's
approach to comedy,
which is
and
why-
why you do it.
Yeah, it's not for me, right? I mean, I
think
see
Kyle
what he's
Cease
saying.
actually likes doing that, whatever it is.
No, I
he's
think he
doing.
loves doing it,
Yeah.
and that so and he's
I don't think it's necessarily a cynical attempt,
to make a giant bag of money.
even though he is making giant bags of money, right?
I assume so. I hope so, because he's changed his act and he changes why he does stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And if I were going to change my
we
act,
treat him like he's made a giant bag of money.
right, exactly. Clearly, it's working out, Kyle. So, but I hope he is, just because he did make those decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I said, well, thank you for that. And he said, and then this guy told me the gig that he has is some self-help thing. It's a giant self-help kind of weekend. He was like, it doesn't pay very well. And I was like, you don't have to undersell it immediately. I don't want to do it. I don't want to.
What I don't. What would you do? Just
The only thing I would do would be my act.
Well, what did he want? What would he want you to do?
I think he wanted me to
inspire women by being funny.
Maybe. I think I already do that.
Yeah, I
One
do too.
person at a time.
I hate it when people try to get nightclub comics out of nightclubs. Like, that's what we're supposed to be.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, a theater's
I had
nice every
secondhand
once in a
smoke
while.
for 15 years.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not trying to.
The worst club for secondhand smoke. What was it for you?
Oh, all of them. Jesus
Joker's
Christ.
Dayton.
Joker's Dayton.
The worst.
That sounds like a
It
terrible.
was awful because you were
did it look like?
It was a square shaped room and the comics were in a corner, like the stage was in a corner, so you were trapped by angry smokers. You know, oh my God, it was awful. I would have to. My clothes smelled so bad between.
Every
I
night.
would shower before the show and I'd shower after to get it off me.
Oh, just trying to go to bed and just reeking of cigarettes.
Oh,
it was
it's
just
gross.
I would the Comedy Gallery when I first moved to Los Angeles, first moved to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
There was just, and they were all packed. You know, it was the
Yeah.
early 90s. It was in the boom, and the place was just packed with humanity, and people are just right next to you smoking.
I know, you just want to go, why are you doing this to yourself? And why are you doing it to me? Yeah, and God, when did it become illegal in New York to smoke in a club? Like after 9/11, I think, right? That was a Bloomberg thing.
I don't know.
It was great.
Yeah,
because so many comics smoke, and you're just trapped next to them. You know.
Yep. And you're like, go outside like
Yeah.
an animal. And and then I remember because I was always Like Doug Stanhope used to have the greatest joke about how there was one car on the Amtrak that would allow you to smoke.
Yeah.
And I think the punchline was something like, you'd be smushed next to people, and you're like, "Where are you going?" "Oh, Auschwitz. Where are you going?" And so it was like a crazy, very dark. Doug Stanhope, guys, goes check him out on CISO. Hey, does he have a new show on CISO?
He does. He has a.
Do you?
I
Lori
do
Kilmartin?
too. I will. December 29th.
That's it. There's
Okay.
your
Little plugs.
special.
Yeah.
45 jokes. Do
About
it.
my dead dad.
About my dead dad. That's going to be a good one. Well, I'm done. It's been great. And you got any questions? You got anything?
Let's see.
Let's go deep into the.
Oh.
Kyle, have you ever wondered about the golden era of stand-up comedy? And you got any questions? Feel free.
Which was tougher, like road gigs during the boom where there was stuff everywhere but it was all weird, or like the mid 90s when everything dried up and you were just trying to find any road spots you could find?
What do you mean stuff was weird?
Like they're just things dried up and there wasn't a lot of stuff. Did you guys notice the difference?
Oh, did we notice the difference from this supposed boom
Yeah.
to when it petered out?
Yeah.
I think I aged perfectly with the comedy scene. Like, and I always had a day job. So I never felt the fact that comedy clubs were closing. I was psyched because when there were so many comics, they would headline people that weren't ready. And so they were just really shitty shows. So when a bunch of them closed, I was like, well, that's not work I wanted to do anyway, because those were shitty clubs that I didn't. Yeah. So I just ended up doing one-nighters.
I did like open mics for a long time, and then by the time I was featuring, that's when the boom ended. So I almost never made good money in comedy.
I never made good money.
Yeah.
And it was like 90, I would say the biggest years of my sort of feature weeks were 93 through 98.
Like 1990, 91, like the Improv would pay $700 for features and fly them to the gig.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear these stories and you're like,
I remember
never got
Alex
that.
Reed. Alex Reed was an improv feature, and I'm like, that's everything.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. I think he ended up writing for Arrested Development and
nice.
Malcolm in the Middle, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never, all the guys that I knew just ended up they ended up staying out there, which is why I moved to LA eventually. Cause I remember being on the road featuring in like 95 or 96 and watching this guy's act all week. Cause I was
Right.
following him around,
Right.
doing one-nighters, like 4 or 5 nights of this. And he was horrible, but it wasn't his fault. And I could tell why it wasn't his fault. And we would have lunch or breakfast and he would talk about the decision that he made to do stand up the way he said, I'm a road comic. And so when you're a road comic, but I want to be more than that. I want to be a TV comic. And it was 1994 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said to be a TV comic in 1994, you had to be clean, squeaky clean. It was
Yeah.
not even content. Couldn't be adult, right?
Yeah.
And so he had gone the way of clean. He had decided that he would be clean. So his entire act was being on the road, watching television. So he had like a shitload of jokes about Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and just shitty television
Yeah.
that he watched in 1994.
His life.
Yeah, his life.
His tools.
That was all he had to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And then the other choice that I would also see on the road would be people who are like, I'm going to stay out here forever. And I'm going to sleep with waitresses, and I'm going to get drunk every night, and I'm going to drive 6 hours between gigs every day for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think they ended up doing that. I don't think that's like you and I barely know what we want to do. I mean, I don't
Right.
think
Oh,
they
you
were
fall
like, I'm
into
gonna.
it.
Yeah, you just fall into it, and then you're just scraping for gigs like the next week.
But
you want the next week
It
and the next
felt
week.
like there was a choice just because they too knew that you had to be squeaky clean.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not a TV comic.
I'm not a TV
guy.
comic. I'm
Yeah.
a road comic.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
they would do the filthiest, gastrointestinal fucking jokes.
But then they
from-
could follow anybody too.
Oh, yeah, they could follow anybody.
Yeah, dirty
true.
can always follow clean.
It's easy.
It's hard for clean to follow dirty.
Yeah, you got to reinvent the wheel a little bit when you follow dirty.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't there's that theory that you can't follow people. Like somebody does so well. That's probably true in some cases, but I like to think of it as they did their time and now I'm going to do mine.
Yeah, I don't think the audience is
that
thinking that. They're like, okay,
is that in
what's
the comic's
next?
head?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think, well, yeah, and I think it's got to come from you. Like, well, now it's my turn on stage, and my jokes are unique, and I am unique, and I have my personality is just as
What you just saw is
specific as Big J's.
Yeah.
No one wants to follow him, but somebody has to. Big J Okerson, and I mean, it is nice to do comedy for a long time, and then that just sort of grows, and all this you don't know it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't have that nervous feeling of am I funny? Like I know I'm funny, and I know I can do the job, and if I'm not doing the job, I kind of probably know what the problem is too.
Right. I can tell where I dropped the ball.
Yeah. It's not like this. I'm not funny. I'm a fraud. Like.
Yeah, that's
so
not...
many years of that shit. I wish
really?
there was a way to cut that down or not have it at all. Some people don't have it.
I didn't have it.
You didn't really?
No, I never. I knew that I wasn't as good as other comics, and I knew that, but I didn't feel bad about it.
Yeah,
I was like, well, I'm just going to keep working, going to keep writing, and that guy's, and there's that other attitude that I never had, which was you'd watch somebody destroy and you're like, well, I should just give up. Look how great that is. And you're like, fuck that. I'm never giving up. That inspires me.
Yeah.
That person found something inside themselves to talk about that was so fucking amazing. I have something inside me. I don't know where it is right now, but I will frickin' find it. It's self-defeating to try to beat yourself, that whole beat yourself up, the imposter syndrome, and
it is that doesn't talk knowing it's self-defeating doesn't mean it's going to go away.
No, it's
but knowing it's common kind of helps you.
Right, you're not alone. You're certainly never not alone.
I had a thought off of something you said and I just lost it.
I blame myself.
Wait, I thought you didn't blame yourself.
Wait a minute. Oh my God. So other than that, what do you like to wear on stage?
You know what? Holy shit. I just got some new boots at Aerosols.
Yeah.
And, I've been limping for, I don't know if you noticed for a while. My heel hurts a lot. I think
bummer.
I tore something inside my heel. Oof. And it's taken a really long time to understand because I walk on my heel.
Right.
It's taken a really long time to heal. And I've spent money on inserts and gel, just every possible combination. And then when I was in San Francisco for this NARAL thing, I walked by an Aerosols and I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And the boots I'm wearing right now, I bought it. They're like $89 and the second boot was half price. So I bought two of them.
Yeah.
They're so comfortable.
Oh, is it great?
And you know what? And it's a smaller heel than I normally wear. And I feel kind of sportier on stage now. And I don't know if I like that. In a way, it's
You're
like I'm ready to move.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. Like I'm used to a 2-inch heel. That's usually what I wear on stage. Like a 2-inch boot. And I kind of like that extra height because it's threatening.
Tall.
Yeah, but I like you to know that.
Yeah.
If you
You'll be
heckle me,
loomed. You're gonna loom.
Yes, right. I
You're
will
gonna
loom over you, and there will be a reckoning.
There'll be a reckoning.
Yes. So I feel a little sportier and like Aaron Foley or something. Like I'm jumping around, which I kind of like that too.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what to do, but I do know my feet are much more comfortable.
Oh, that's awesome.
When you're in New York, especially like you do a couple spots and then if your feet hurt, you're fucked, man. If you got more spots,
you're done.
Yeah. So I've been trying to tinker and find the perfect thing to wear.
Because you wear your dress shoes all night in New York.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Michelle Buteau says she takes different shoes.
Working girl.
Yeah.
Nice work.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to carry shoes, man. Come on.
I know. It's brutal. Hey, I bought a fascia blaster.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no purpose for it in my life.
Have you done it yet? Did you watch any of those videos?
No, I didn't watch a video. I just bought it, and then I was trying to work my knee because my knee is needed it, and it really hurt.
Yeah, it does hurt to do. But does it feel better now?
No, I stopped doing it because it hurt. But do I have to commit? Is what you're saying? Is because you committed? Is it breaking down the fascia?
It is, and it's starting to feel a lot better.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Maybe I'll stick it out.
It's painful at first.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you put a towel down or something, or is it just right on your skin?
I was doing it in the shower, and then it's
made out of wood,
PVC pipe. By the way, at work, I described it. I said it's a UFC pipe, and it's got these little claws, and you rub it on your parts of your body, and it's supposed to loosen fascia. It is, I guess, what it does. But my legs feel a lot better, and I think they look a little better too. But I didn't believe in warming down or stretching for like 20 years, and like I'm just turning into a statue.
Yeah,
you know,
it's super.
That's funny that you bought one.
I did. I was like, well, this guy could light $16 on fire, or it might work. It might be something I do. It might be something I use. And so far not. But but I might. You never know. It's I was just talking to Graham Elwood.
Yeah.
And because the podcast festival, they really wanted us to do the podcast festival. It would have been last weekend.
Oh, you and me?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
But I was in Toronto, so I can't. But next year, we could do it if you want, because you said that we would do a live one now.
I agreed. Okay, so I called Flappers because I wanted to find out what time I was on a couple nights ago, so I could see if I could read to my kid a little bit before my spot.
Heading over, yeah.
And then Barbara wants to talk to you. I'm like, it's the live show. Yep. And then we talked about it, and she did, make some good points about, it's increasing fan base, and this would be the first one we'd actually make money from because people would pay a ticket charge.
Maybe.
Cover charge, maybe. So let's try one. Let's see how it goes.
I like the idea of being flown somewhere and then
to Burbank?
No, I'd like to yes, I'd like to fly Burbank to LAX and then back to Burbank. And then but I would like it would because somebody offered to fly us to Brooklyn to do it.
Well, this will have aired afterwards, but I'm going to Brooklyn this weekend.
This is the weekend that you'll be.
Oh, I remembered what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Mike Birbiglia.
Yes,
he has a movie. He wrote a movie and produced it.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is do another spot. Where's that part of my head that wants to make a movie? Why don't I have that?
I don't know. Does he want to do another spot?
Probably. I don't know.
I think he's a different comic than you are.
Well, of course he is.
Well, but I mean, I don't think he wants to do another spot. I think he wants to write, because I'm sure people look at you and they think to themselves, how can she go and work in a writer's room all day long and write jokes? And
well, it's not. I'm working in front of a computer most of the day.
Right. No, I know, but I mean, it's a cool job. It's a really cool job, your job. But they're like, how does she have the energy to go do stand up at night? And, and so it's the same thing with Birbiglia,
I'm not saying how he has the energy. I'm saying, where does he get the desire?
I have no desire to do what you want to do.
So different from stand up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like I do get like, I'm a purist. Like when someone's like a musician and a stand up, I'm like, no, if I can pick one.
Well,
it bothers me. I'm cool now. I used to be much more judgmental about any other hobby outside of stand up. I was like,
hiking. What do you think? What are you getting out of that? No, it's a Marie Bevan.
Why are you doing that? Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, she's got this whole thing about hobbies, and she's like, "What? You making any money on that hobby? That walking? You making any? What are you doing?" Anyway, so the thing about Mike is, I think I didn't see him when I was there. Do you ever see him at the clubs when you were in New York?
I haven't seen. I saw him when he did Conan. I went and said hi to him.
Yeah, but I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him at the clubs in a couple of years.
He used to be a total club comic. In
New York.
Just
all the time.
I think he's doing theater and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like he kind of went obviously he did some stuff on NPR, But that sort of takes you in a different direction from
Well, he used to
club.
come to Whiplash.
Yeah.
That's the last time. One of the last times I saw him, he was at
Yeah.
Whiplash, and then I think he's writing. Like he wrote that one man show that Nathan Lane underwrote,
Yes.
and I
must be
felt
nice.
actual jealousy.
Yeah.
And I was like, why won't Nathan Lane underwrite my one person show?
Are there female comics that think big like that?
That think big of
Like Birbiglia, I want to make a movie.
what about that woman that you
Louis
always talk
C.K.,
about?
I want to make a movie. Who?
who got the money and then made her own sitcom.
Christella.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she's one.
I think, well, that's within the realm of stand-up, I think, is to have
Making
a
a
sitcom
sitcom?
based on your stand-up. That's definitely...
Well, that's what Louis did.
Yeah, but he also did Pootie Tang a long time ago. He also had these other interests.
I think that's
Are
those women
there other female comics that are...
I mean,
there's
doing
so
that?
many.
definitely call Christella in that vein because like she really kind of pulled the Louis approach to that and kind of had control over all the parts to it.
Yeah.
And Tig
Yeah, and Tig.
Tig.
and
Tig.
Cameron and Rhea.
Yes. Well,
And-
no, you're just saying people are doing a sitcom.
Well, they're doing other things besides stand up.
Yeah.
That's what you want, right?
No, I guess beyond sitcom, I was thinking.
Bobcat. It's not
Yeah, but
it's not
he's
a
a
woman.
dude. I'm just wondering if why there's not a female polymath, comedy polymath, or is there one that I'm not thinking of?
I'm sure there is.
Or am I?
I like that
or
you're
am I
asking me for names.
automatically
It's,
upgrading Birbiglia and Louis because they're guys, because I've internalized that
Ding, ding,
when
ding,
men
ding,
do,
ding.
when do
Yes.
something, it's more important than when women
men
do it.
yes, when men do something, it is more
Maybe I
important. I
am.
don't know if you know this,
Whitney
but
was kind of doing a lot of that when she
Yeah,
had
Whitney
5
Cummings.
shows on the air
Yeah.
that she created.
Yeah.
what about fucking
Yeah.
Oprah? She did stand up, didn't she? No. Anyway, I'm kidding. But I think you, and you're not alone. We all value men more. And women don't get, there's just not enough money that people just walk up to a normal looking dude like Louis C.K. or Mike Birbiglia and go, here is a big bag of money. Do whatever you want to do with it. They don't walk up to women and do that.
No, they don't. But do you think that's a great? This is leading me to this.
Good.
Do you think women instinctively know that, and so we don't spread it out really thin? We don't go
Concentrate?
I'm going to do a movie. Try this, and I'm going to learn. I'm just going to spread it all out there and see what happens because we know we have to be really good in one area.
More improv women are doing it too, like Kristen Wiig
Yeah,
and Tina Fey.
yeah,
And Amy Poehler. And they were more improv people.
yes,
But they're like, well, I'm going to do
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
And Melissa Villasenor going to the SNL route, she does stand up, but now she's going to do sketch.
yeah,
And from there, it'll be whatever it is, right?
yeah.
And how weird is it that they keep saying she's the first Mexican, which I think is true, but then I thought they said Latino.
Latina,
is what they must be meaning,
because
right?
Yeah,
Because Fred Armisen, you don't count Argentina?
yeah, and
And,
he's from Venezuela, right? Or he's
I-
Venezuelan American or something.
I thought he was Argentinian.
And then who's the other guy that used to break up all the time? Horatio. Chile,
Hornblower?
I think. No.
Horatio Hornblower?
Sanchez.
Was he on? I'll be over here.
What minute
Sands?
are we on?
We are actually
57.
pretty much ready to go.
This is it. Look what happened, you guys. We did it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of lulls in this one though, right?
I think it's going to be nice. People get up, get a beverage. It's going to be real sweet.
You don't have to be addicted to the phone on this one. You can definitely
Yeah, get walking Shaw. If you're walking, we did what we could for you.
you gotta stop calling.
It's good times.
All right.
Comedy. Let's go do some.
Did we have a female comic of the week?
You did, Megan Keister.
Oh yes, Megan. Okay. See, I'm so tired. And I also feel good because a couple weeks ago we said Miss Pat, but we didn't say much about her.
I
right?
did.
You did?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could say more. You want to say more?
No.
How great she is.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, people are great. You guys, go see some comedy.
Here's the thing: like some of these female comics, we don't know that well.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have a big story about them because we worked with them, and sometimes we don't know them very well, but they're
Right.
funny, and
But
it's
we
like
know
you
they're
should
funny.
know. Yeah, you should
Yeah.
know who they are.
Right.
You know.
So that
So don't be like,
You're not
oh,
being-
so she doesn't. She must not like one as much as the other because she didn't have a story. It's well, I don't really know that person that well.
Right.
I would love to if the industry would let me work with some fucking female comics every once in a while.
you have written a dialogue. You have written a short story that will now be illustrated and released on Nerdist Publications. You're now leading Nerdist.
Bye.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.